Welcome to the Japji Sahib podcast. In this episode, we'll be covering the 16th Pauri, which translates to stanza, given to us, blessed to us by Guru Nanak Dev Ji. And joining us, preacher and sing, Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. So, we've been going through Sunaya, which there were 4 stanzas dedicated to that. And then we went through Manna, which were again 4 stanzas dedicated to that. And now this is a result of when you've got Sunaya and you've got Manne that come together. So somebody that is in that state of listening to that Guru inside, or like even the Guru Shabad from the outside, and then is in complete surrender and acceptance of that Manna. And you've got the result of that, and the word that Guru Nanak Dev Ji uses when you've got the result of all of that coming together is Panch. And the word Panch can be translated to loosely, as we've done here, is the virtuous. And when we say the virtuous, what are we saying is somebody that have got the Panch gone inside of them. These 5 qualities. And it's not that they wouldn't have any other qualities, but when we look into these qualities, they will then incorporate everything else as well. All the other, divine, or we could call it positive qualities. And we could also say that these Panch are somebody that are at the avastha, the state of what some refer to as a sant. And if we could try and look at that from Guru Granth Sahib Ji, but in the previous episodes, we've already gone through the Panch Gun, we've already gone through the 5 qualities or the virtues. So Panch, if we look at what we were just discussing before, Sat Santokh, Daya, Dharam, Such. Yeah. So okay. So now when we look at this, so this is what this body is all about now. It's somebody that's at this avastha, that state they've reached. Yeah, that's a Panch. And those Panch are somebody that have these qualities. Sat is truthful living. Santokh, contentment. Daya, which is compassion. Dharam, and righteous way of living. And Such can be translated to purity. And when we look to get a better idea of this, though, it's always better to have some examples. And the examples here are that no matter how much somebody at that state, at that avastha is tested by someone, no matter what somebody throws at them, doesn't matter what names somebody calls them, whatever happens, they will never come outside of these qualities. They will never step outside of them. And I was saying to you earlier, Vijay, that I've had a few conversations with some people recently, is that it's never that when we look at these divine qualities, it's not that somebody practices one of them one at a time. You are all of them at all times. Yeah. So you never stop being the other one. You are that all the time. So for example, if we look at Sat, we're talking about being in that state of truth, practicing truth. But you practice that truth with Santokh, with contentment. You're practicing that truth not because you want something back from it. You're practicing it from a place of contentment. You're not expecting to have something come back for you practicing that. There's not a reason for you to practice it. You just are that. Yeah. You're not now speaking the truth so that I can get something from you or I can impress you. You just are that. And that's how Sat and Santokh, they come together. Yeah. And then whenever you're practicing the truth, whatever you're doing in your life, but it's never outside of compassion. So the compassion there, the third gun, is is always constant and it's always present as well. So then whatever it is that I'm practicing, we just use speaking the truth, but this here is overall the truth, just living truthfully in every form of way. And for example, there's a lot of talk nowadays about authenticity. We've touched on this before as well. And if we look at that I could say that I'm going to be authentic. Like, I'm going to tell you kind of what's really going on inside of me and what I'm really thinking about something. But if I was to do that, knowingly that it's going to crush you, it's going to break your heart, or it's going to make you look lower, it's going to make you feel really small, and it's going to make me feel that I'm above you, then you're not Panch then. You could be practicing the truth in the sense of that you're saying whatever is the truth, because you're not hiding what the situation is, and you're just saying it as it is. Yeah. But then you can't be Panch if you're doing it to then bring somebody down, because then you haven't got Daya there. Because Daya would mean that I want the best for you. I want good for you. I want your suffering to go away. So to be Panch is no small thing, because there's many of us that will be practicing one of these at different times in our life, but it doesn't mean we're practicing them all in one go. Yeah. And then you've got the Dharam, which is just being righteous. And the way I would look at this is that only if you've now got the first three, then can you call whatever act comes from it righteous. Yeah, so it's not something you practice as a standalone thing. It's just a result of the first three, of being truthful, of being content, being compassionate, and remember underlining below the compassion as well, it derives from love, and love is not discriminating. Love is looking at everyone equally. Love is not being judgmental. Yeah, and there's this sweetness about love. Yeah. So then when you've got all of that, then whatever you do is righteous. Yeah. And then here you've got then Such. And I know we've gone through these before. It might be a little bit repetitive, but we need it, And then Such is that purity, and purity of the mind, of the way we are looking at something. So let me give you an example. If I didn't have Such purity, I could be speaking to someone, and what I'm saying to them, yeah, so the conversation that we're having could be the truth. It could be just talking about work. I could be just telling them what I do. And so that in itself, it's the truth in that sense. Yeah. But I might not have Such inside of me. It might not be pure. Because even though the conversation we're having and the words we're speaking are true, and I'm not lying about what I do and all of that, but my intention could be coming from a lustful place. Yeah. And then that doesn't make the situation pure. Yeah. Because the intention is deeper. There's a different hope behind it. And then that doesn't bring the whole five together again. Or it could be that I'm speaking to you or someone. I can use you as an example here. I could be speaking to you very sweetly. Again, what I'm saying could be true. Yeah. But my intention is greed. And it's because there's something, you've got a business or something, and I want to try and convince you, and you don't know this. You think we're just having a chat, we're good mates. but my intention is your wealth. Yeah. And there's not purity there then. There's another intention. Yeah? So it's not complete truth. Yeah. And so that's why when somebody has all of these, all the time, all in one go, is then who is referred to as a sant. And that's why they are very rare. Because many of us have one of them, two of them at different times. Yeah, we all get to experience these qualities, but it's not very often we're in them, all of them, all the time. That's why then a sant is a sant. Yeah. Another interesting way of looking at it, because I know some people have gone to that extent of translating, well, a sant is more about their virtues than it being an actual person. And that's quite an interesting conversation to have, I think. Because if we were to say, okay, for example, say if there was a moment where you practiced all of them in one go. In that moment, you was a sant. Yeah? But now the danger is somebody could have experienced those saintly qualities within you for that moment. And now they're expecting this particular body to be that all the time. So they get attached to that and they put you on a pedestal. And that's where the danger often comes. Instead of looking at it and just experiencing those moments of saintly qualities within someone in different moments of their life and taking them for that moment, but then not having that expectation for them to be that all the time. But then I think the other question that comes from that is there anyone that is that all the time though? Or is it that there are some people that are just that at times and they've got those saintly qualities and it's just the qualities themselves that are the saint? Can there be anyone in a one particular body that is that all the time? And I think from what Kabirji is saying, there are those rare ones. You won't find them very often. And I think the point I'm trying to make is that in life, we've got to be careful in this world. And we've got to accept that there will be people, they, in moments of their life, they do have all of them. But they might not be able to sustain them and have them all the time. And that's why for us, it's about living in this awareness, not setting up our expectations so high towards somebody to be a certain something all the time. But I also, from just my personal reflection of Gurbani, where Kabirji is talking about Kabir Sant na chhade sante jo kotik milhe asant, is where Kabirji, this for me is pretty clear that there could be then a certain person that reaches that avastha, reaches that state where they never let go of them, and they are them all the time. Yeah. And then when we're doing sangat, I think it's fair to say that at times we might not be able to get the sangat of a sant, which is somebody that is that all the time, but we'll often get sangat of people that have got them in certain moments of their life. You know, and so Kabir ji saying, Kabir sant na chhade sante jo kotik milhe asant. And that the one that is that all the time, no matter who comes across in their life, they will never let go of all five of those. They will be in them all the time. And even if they meet millions, kote ke mile hai asant, those that are the opposite to a sant, meaning that are filled with the five vices, filled with, stuck in their ego, filled with kam, krodh, lobh, mohakar, greed, anger, attachment, all of these. Yeah. But a sant is, no matter how much opposition, no matter how much somebody comes that are the complete opposite to them, millions of those that could come to them that are like that, never are they going to budge from that. And that is a sant. And that is the avastha of Panch. And for example now, so if somebody comes and says something to a sant, to somebody that's a Panch, and never will they feel that their identity is being attacked. Because they're beyond identity, they are just these qualities. All that can come through them are those qualities. So no matter how much and what and how they are treated, they will always be in the state of Frida Burida Palakar. Gussa Marna Handai. That they will always be in this avastha, in this state, that they will not wear their mind out with gussa, with anger, because only the layers of ego can get angry about something. But for them, they are Sat, Santokh, they are Dharam, and then Switch. Yeah, so they are them five all the time. And that's a Sant then. So when somebody comes that is a Sant, that is the opposite to a Sant, with all the vices, and who then Friji saying is Bura. Bura meaning somebody that is just acting out of those instead, and are acting out of greed, acting out of lust, and constantly self-centered, selfish. And selfishness is spoke about in Gurbani as well, and they've referred to it as, they've used the word khudi for it as well. And there's a pankti where Mar says khudi miti, Mar says khudi miti tab sukh pe mantan pe arog. That we don't realize how much even physical ailments we end up getting just because of being selfish. And it's another topic, it's this really interesting topic to look at. And when you're selfish, you're more prone to illnesses as well, physical illnesses that stem from the mind, and so, but Mara says when we let go of the selfishness, khudi miti, then tab sukh pe, then you start to experience this anand, this bliss inside. And it was because of the selfishness you wasn't able to experience bliss. And the Mimi wasn't letting you do that. And selfishness meaning that where life is all about you, how it's about your pleasures, it's never about anybody else for you. And then sukh pe mantan pe arog. If somebody is living their life like that, they could be referred to as the asant, the bura, the someone that's living with these negative. So that's why if we go back to the Frida Burida Palakar, and if we looked at that, now the word bura, it's not now just calling somebody that is bad. Now we understand it on a deeper level. Now it's not that we're labeling them and judging them to say your identity is that you are bad. It's not. It's that there's points in your life, or some people could be where they're quite consistently like that, or there's a lot of moments in your life where they are acting out of the Panchachor. So from being stuck in one of your identities, and then you become quite selfish, and it becomes all about your pleasures, and then that's the burayai coming from inside of them. Those negative qualities are coming through. It's okay to try and identify and understand certain traits about someone, but if we start saying that you are bad, you just are now selfish, I think there could be a danger to that. And it's okay to identify these things. But if we start to really reinforce that you are that, I think there's a danger of where somebody now starts to embody that identity. Yeah. And then it becomes very judgmental from the person that is labeling someone with that as well. Instead saying, oh, I understand your current behavior. It's coming from getting caught in these. Yeah. So it comes to understanding someone and talking about them, because you're understanding what it is, where it's coming from. You're going to a much deeper place.
If they're labeled that entirely, they might think like, okay, well, this is me then. But if you go to that deeper level, like you just described, that might give them that chance to think, okay, I don't have to be this.
Yes.
There is something deeper within me that is divine, that I have an opportunity to connect to, and I have a choice to try and pick that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, definitely. So if we go back to who the Panch is then, who's the Sant, is that Bureda Palakar. Naturally, they will not respond in anger. It just can't happen, because that's not where they are functioning or working from. So their natural response will be Pala. Okay, how can I do good for this person from here? Because they'll be responding from compassion, because that's what Panch, remember, that they're made up of all of that. Sat, that they're more connected to the truth. They're able to see the situation for what it is, where it's coming from. They are content. They don't need anything from you. Yeah. They're not thinking, well, you're being like this, and that's the only way, and how I can be what I need to be. So they're content as well. They are where they need to be. Yeah. Because they're pure, they're complete. And Sat Santokh, they are the compassion's there, wants the better for you. It's not that they want it for themselves, because they're Santokh, they're content. Sant Santokh, they are Dharam. So whatever they do now is, the Panch will be righteous. Yeah, towards that person. Sat Santokh, they are Dharam, and then Such, it'll be coming from a very pure place, whatever they do. It won't be coming from the five vices. Everything they think about towards that person is going to be pure. Yeah. And that is then Gussa Marna Handai. They could only get angry because the word here, man, mind, the mind is made up of, you need an identity. So, but if they've got an identity now, but I am this, yeah, and they get consumed in that. They can't see outside of that. They can't see the wholeness and the truth. The Sat isn't there. They can only see this, me, yeah. Then they will start wearing out their mind with the gussa, with their anger. Yeah, I can't believe you're doing this. Can't believe you. Oh God, look at you. Yeah, but the Panch haven't got that. They've got just qualities. They're just qualities. The divine qualities, that's it. That's all they are. That's all that's coming out. And so it's a natural, just natural palakar. Yeah. They don't need to do it for themselves. They don't even know they're doing it. They are just that. And then that is Santana Chade Sante. It doesn't matter what you're saying to me. Yeah. I'm not going to let go of my qualities. But if you're not interested in my qualities, that's not going to bother me as well. But then we might not be able to connect and click. Yeah. And that's okay as well. And there'll be an acceptance of that as well. Yeah. And they'll understand, oh, yeah, they're not able to open their heart to this. And if they're not, I've not lost anything, because I'm complete anyway. When you've got love, whether you can take it from me or not, at one level, I've got compassion. I'll feel it for you. but I won't be desperate that you need to get it. Because there's no attachment as well. I'm free because I haven't got the 5 vices then. And that's a bunch. Then, and that's fine. There'll be just an acceptance. Oh look, they're opening their heart to it. Oh look, they're not able to. That's their karam. They're so stuck in their identity, and it's so thick, like it's so dense. It's okay, and they accept that as well. The avastha is like mind blowing. The state of a Panch is just mind boggling. Like Guru Gobind Singh Ji, when they wrote the Zafarnama to Aurangzeb, they didn't say that you broke my heart. When you guys wrote those oaths and you didn't stick to them, that was terrible. What you did to me. No, Guru Gobind Singh Ji said, you guys are liars and you weren't able, you didn't honor your own faith. They didn't make it about themselves. Guru Gobind Singh Ji didn't. It wasn't, because then they would be selfish. I can't believe you did that to me. Read the Zafarnama. If you find something like that on there, fair enough. Yeah. It didn't bring their Chardi Kala down. I'm not here now complaining that, you've ruined my life. Because nowhere in this moment did attachment kick in, because their sons have been taken away. And but it was still like that spirit was still there. And what have you done to me? That's what that means. Like it's literally like if we use in English saying, yeah, I don't get it. And what? You think you've destroyed me? Like, no. Yeah, so it's in the same way when somebody is a sant and somebody's attacking them, saying whatever, and to them, not in an arrogant way, but it's like, I don't get it. And what are you trying to do here to me? Like, there's nothing you can do. Yeah. And that is liberation. So who's Panch? Is somebody that you've got snakes wrapped around you now, that is spitting poison at you. Yeah, and these poisons, unfortunately, are spat from those people that we took as our very own. And that could be within the faith that you belong to, the religion that you belong to. You practice it a little different way to somebody else. People will start spitting poison at you. Yeah. But where are you standing is what spirituality is all about. Spirituality is not concerned, when I say spirituality, I'm talking about your journey back to your soul. When when Guru Sahib Ji talk about that, what is it? What's the problem? What's causing all these problems? Atmana chine, parme vich, sutta. They said the problem is that you're not recognizing your soul. Yeah, you're stuck in this illusion. Atmana chine parme vich, sutta. You're asleep. That's what it means to be on the path of spirituality, to be on the path of Sakhi, to give yourself to Guru Nanak Dev Ji is saying that this is where I want to know my soul. And Guru Sahib Ji is saying, well, you start off asleep and you don't have a clue who you are. Yeah. And that's why if you look at the next shabd, the Pankti Mar is saying that mar moya shabde mar jai. So they're saying only that person, mar moya, that becomes dead and dies, is the one that dies in the shabad. Meaning the Guru's telling me who I am. The Guru's telling me who you aren't even. Yeah. And then you die in that, what the Guru's telling you. And then you start to know your soul. the whole process of this marg of Sikhi is that Guru is ripping those layers from us. We're dying in the Guru's word. Yeah, he's saying, you're not that, you're not that, you're not that. No? It's like Guru Gobind Singh Ji said that, Nahanjay, you're not Rupa Ranga Rek Pekh, Ko Kahai Karnai. It's like, this is all of Gurbani is telling us that, Chakkar Chehnar Barn Jat, your true self is not a Baran, isn't a certain caste. It's not a Jat, it's not a subcaste that you think you are. Yeah, it's just a role you're playing, just a job that you're doing to earn a living or whatever. Yeah, Arpat, you're not that, the family lineage. You think, oh, this is me. I'll protect my family lineage no matter what. Maharaj says, you're not any of those. That's what the Guru is saying. You're not that. You're not that. Are you willing to take that? That's what Sikhi is. Are you willing to say, okay, I can see that's just a role, and Roop stuck in these looks, beauty, rang, color, rake, outline, bake, clothes. All these things become our barriers. And are you willing to do that work? To realize, Ko Kahai Karnai, nobody can say that about your soul. A Sant is somebody that never gives up their Sitalta. Sitalta means it's translated here, it's actually beautiful. They're cooling fragrance. Best thing to do from here is just ask ourselves, are we really where we think we are? And because this isn't just that you will never be that. This is the only place where there is liberation and we realize the soul. Whether it happens in this life, next life, next life, next life, there's no escape from having to get there to be with Waheguru. And this is it, Ta Sitalta Nata Jant. Of not letting go of that Sitalta. So when we look at the Ta Sitalta Nata Jant, is that Guru Nanak Dev Ji, some people will say, oh, it's not a realistic example to use when we talk about Guru Nanak Dev Ji and their life. But I think it's a perfect example to use, because Guru Sahib Ji decided to take on a body and that be and get married. They could have chose not to do any of those things, but to show us of how they responded to life. Yeah, and if they could have just lived in such a way where all they did was they just went out and gave nam to people without having to do any form of work that they did, the farm that they worked on. So I think it's a very fitting example to use Guru Nanak Dev Ji for us. It's a perfect example. And if you look at the way when Guru Nanak Dev Ji throughout their life and they were growing up, even when they got to their teens, the way their father would speak to them, and he'd get very annoyed. He'd be very angry. So he was, there were many times where he acting out of those vices, acting out of anger, to the point of where he slapped Guru Nanak Dev Ji. But the way Guru Nanak Dev Ji responded was never out of anger, never responded in the same way, never spoke in a way where they spoke down to their father, so never out of then arrogance, but instead, always the response is always from a place of Sitalta. Oh, and what I would say is, Sitalta here, when we say cooling fragrance, if we was to look at that deeper, that means still always responded from Sat Santokh Daya Dharam Such. Khema, forgiveness, prem, love there. It was still from that place. But it doesn't mean Guru Nanak Dev Ji then gave in to their father and did what their father was requesting or demanding or telling what Guru Nanak Dev Ji must be doing. Guru Nanak Dev Ji still did what they needed to do because they needed to live by the truth. Yeah, but they remained in that state of Sitalta. They never shouted and got angry back at their father. And this is what they're talking about. And these are the examples for us to look at of how to try and start living our own life, where we want to get to in our lives. And that, because that's where Ananda is. So if we now look at Panch Parvaan, Panch Pardhaan, and now having all the vichar behind it here, Guru Sahib Ji is saying that Panch they are the ones that are truly Parvaan, accepted by the One. And what that means to be accepted by the One is that they're always with the One. And Panch Pardhaan, and they are the ones that are the true spiritual leaders, and Pardhaan means leader, that are the true leaders within this world. These are the people that, we want to be looking towards, that are living in that place, that are living in that state. And because most of the people that are in leadership roles today, whether it be in the government, wherever it be, the people that are leading the countries of this world are not from a place of Panch. Instead of from the places of power, the five vices, from a place of asat, not truthful. We've seen it where there's countries where their leaders, the government itself, the prime minister itself, they have to be investigated. And it's found out that they've been lying. And so, but true Pardhans, the true leaders are those that are in a state of Panch. Panche, Paaveh, Dargeh, Maan. And those Panch are the ones that receive that true honor in Dargah, in the court of God. Panche Soheh, Dar, Raajaan. And they are the ones that truly look beautiful in the court of that king, and that king being Vaheguru. Because we could get caught up in trying to look beautiful in other ways. We could just think looking beautiful is how we make this face look, how we dress this body. But just the way somebody might word something. They're saying, oh, look how beautifully they worded that. But the true beauty is when you become a Panch, when you're in there, in that place. Pancha ka gur ek Dhiaan. And their focus, a sant, their focus will always be completely single-mindedly, their focus will be on that eternal Guru. They'll be just constant in touch with Vaheguru inside, guiding them, listening, accepting, and that's a Panch. Then Ko Kahai Karnai vichar. Then Guru Sahib Ji say here that, but even if you're a Panch, and don't think that a Panch is somebody that can tell you this is the limit of God, because there is no limit to God. They can't tell you, well, this is it, this is the extent of the creation. And they're saying that because in life, we've become such that, or not become such, but our minds are designed in a way where they constantly want answers. They constantly want to know, what to resolve something. They want a solution. But they're saying, Ko Kahai Karnai vichar. Even if somebody tries to say, and vichar, and contemplate, reflect, and try and explain the extent of the Creator, Guru Sahib is saying, Karte Kai Karnai nahi sumar. It's saying that the doings of that creator, Karte means the creator, and then Kai Karnai, the doings of that one, the way how all this is just functioning and playing out. It's saying Nahi Sumar, it cannot be, Sumar means counted. You can't say, well, yeah, I've got it, this is it. You can't ever say this is it with the creator. And what that's saying to us is, Guru Sahib Ji here isn't putting them down, the Panch, saying, well, even they won't know this. What they're saying is, they have realized this. A Panch is somebody that's realized this, that is content with that I can never know the extent of you. I'm not looking for answers. I surrender to that. This is just limitless. And you are just beyond. And that's what but us, the ones that aren't in the Avastha of Panch, are saying, but nah, look, I want to know exactly, what is the reason why God has made this, but what's the point to this, and how much is there of that, and how many planets is there, and how does this work, and no, a bunch is saying like, we can never know your limits and what you're up to in your game in its complete entirety. It's just like, wow, that's a bunch. They can do that. And then Guru Sahib Ji saying that Dhaul, Dharam and Daya ka Poot. And they talk about here a Dhaul, referring to this, it literally means bull. And there was a certain belief amongst people where they thought there's some form of kind of bull, not the type of bull that we would, I'm sure, know for what a bull is, but some form of this mystical bull that is holding up this entire earth or even, this world. And Guru Sahib Ji is breaking that myth for them that no, that's not how it works. But actually it's Dhaul, Dharam. And they're saying that what's holding up this entire creation or this world in itself is something called Dharam. There's this perfect set of laws and that are just making everything work as it's working. And Daya ka Poot, and those laws come from, and is basically Poot meaning the child of compassion. And those laws are based from compassion. Compassion beyond the little understanding that we would have of what compassion means. Compassion here meaning that it's not going to change for anything. It's not going to change for anyone. It's just this one just system that plays out. And it doesn't alter itself. Yeah, because then that wouldn't be compassion. If it starts to change its mind towards different things and people in different situations, it just is what it is. Yeah. And Santokh, Thaap, Rakhia, Jin Soot. Then Guru Sahib Ji says that this everything is Santokh here we can translate to patiently, and Thaap, Rakhia, that is keeping this whole creation in place. It's the laws are keeping this whole creation in place patiently. It doesn't get fed up. It's not like the laws think, I'm bored, let me just change it up a bit. It doesn't decide, I'll forget this, like the way it's working at the moment, and maybe just switch up like the nature of how gravity's working at the moment, just let them fly off. It carries on as it is. The nature of fire doesn't decide, like, I can't be bothered to be hot anymore. I'm just fed up of this, We're
the ones that get tired, aren't we?
Yes.
Yeah.
We just are like, no, why are you the way you are? We're the ones that don't accept the laws. but the laws are very patient within themselves. They are consistent. They do not alter. Yeah. Jin Soot. Soot means it's all strung on this one set of law. Everything is. And then Jeko Bujhai Hovai Sachiaar. And Guru Sahib Ji saying that those that come to understand this, not comes to understand every bit of how the law folds out, but that there's this system in place. Those that come to understand that there's this just perfectly in order system in place, they are the ones that then become Sachiaar, truthful, who start to accept that and surrender to that it is what it is. I can't change the laws. Those that start surrendering to that, they are the ones that then find Waheguru. It's their resistance that stops them from realizing the truth, the formless within the form. Yeah. Dhavlai, Upar, Keta, Bhaar. Guru Sahib Ji said, if it was this apparent mystical bull, which is a mythical story, and then said, how much weight would that bull be holding? Because like it's so many, there's not just this one world, is there? And then Tarti Hor, Para Hor, they're saying there's worlds beyond this world, and there's so many. Tiste Paar, Tala Kavan Jor, and it's saying that. So if we just read out what we've kind of how we've translated this literally, is like what power holds those worlds and supports their weight. Then, so it's just what's that word? Ludicrous. Yeah. It just makes no sense. And then Maharaj saying, Ji Jat Ranga Ke Nav. Maharaj is saying, but just look at this play. It's just filled with so many different types of jeev, different types of creatures, jat, types of creatures. Jat means types. Ranga Ke Nav. Look how many different colors, and then Ranga Ke Nav. And then because of the way they are divided, the way the different types of these creatures and things, they've all got their own name to them. Maharaj is just saying, look at the vastness of this creation. And Sabna Likhya Vuri Kalam. And they're just taking us to that point of surrender. Of all of this is, Maharaj is saying to us, don't look for a defined answer. To say, this is it. This is what God is. Like all of this is to blow our mind. Is to take us to this place of just surrendering, and where it's like saying, wow, Sabna Likhya Vuri Kalam, there's this, can you even get your head around this? You can't. This is what Maharaj is saying, you can't. There's some form of kalam, this pen, that is vuri, that is just constantly flowing. Yeah, that it goes from here to there to there. Yeah. And one, you think it's just all fixed. It's not. It's the pen is flowing in every moment, every action. Then the pen scribes for you to go now that way. Then that happens there, and then that scribes you to go that way. And it's this constant, this pen is flowing, that is writing everyone's next moment and destiny to where they're going based on their current actions and their past actions. It's all just their crazy game of just Sabna Likhya Vuri Kalam, and that's for every creature. Eho lekha likh jana koe, that who would know how to write such an account, to say that I got this, I'm a pretty decent engineer, I reckon I could put this together quite well. Let me write out the laws of how it should work. Because that's what it is, isn't it? when we don't accept things. What we're saying is we could have done a better job in writing the laws, and saying like, who could write such a system out for the way this works? It's every moment it's happening, it's set. Lekha likhya Keta hoye. And like, what would that account even be like? Like, where do you start? Like, you think you could do a better job? Would you? Want to give it a shot in writing the law out, how it all works? The saying. Because we do find ourselves in our lives at points pretty unhappy and frustrated. And when we're not able to accept, what we're saying there is that maybe you've made a mess in the way you wrote this, of how this is meant to work. Yeah. Because we're not able to accept the rules of the game. Keta taan swalyo hurup. It's just like, this is Simran, so it's not like, we don't need to, it's not something you go deep into. Oh, like, what do you mean by, how much power have you got? It's not, it's this, we're doing Simran here. This is to get us to Waheguru. So what we say, it's like we're singing this like, wow, like such power. Keta taan. How much like power have you got? Like, whoa. You don't get to somewhere after that question. The question is, it is in itself the surrender. Yeah. There's no answer. Don't look for an answer. Yeah, you won't get nowhere. The question in itself is you getting back to Waheguru. Saying Keta taan, like, whoa, your power. Swalyo horup, like, how beautiful is your form. And Keti daat jane kaun koot, like, how could anybody ever, koot means to measure your gifts. This, everything that you've created, we can't. It's Guru Sahib saying, like, again, I'll say it again, don't look for the answer. It's actually, what it's saying is, just surrender at the question. You can't. Yeah. It's taking our ego away. It's building us up to go to like Saram Khand, which we'll understand later, how all this fits for that. This is at the moment, this is a moment of experiencing Gyan Khand. It's like, whoa, you're in this realization of God. It's just, whoa, basically. And then Kita Pasao Eko Kavao. Like, how did this all come about? It's just like it was saying, it's, for us when we're designing something, I had to do this, I had to put this together, and they're saying, nah, for God, it was just one word. That's it. That's how powerful He is. All this expanse of this creation. I was just traveling in the plane the other day, and I was saying, we just get so stuck in thinking that, that we look around this world and saying that this is also the form of God. And we just know that to be these 5 elements that this is made up of. But look at all the other, like we sometimes think we are so important. But if you look at all the other planets, even that is the formless that has taken form and is enjoying the creation through that planet as well. Why is it that this one is more than that one? Why is it like enjoying, the formless is enjoying the form of itself through so many planets and universes, and we just think, oh my God, here's me, and me, my world. You know, it must be a joke for the formless. You know, without these little dots. Forget about the vastness. Kita so echo kavo, just like this from this one sound. It's just this whole expansion that is still continuing, still expanding. Even then, even like the population on this earth is growing. Everything's just expanding and growing. Tiste hoye lakh daryao, and from that one word came hundreds of thousands of daryao. Of daryao means oceans or rivers, and referring to just all these different worlds. Kudrat kavan kaha vichar is saying that how can that one's like creative power be described? Kudrat means the power, the shakti, the creative power of that one. Kavan kaha vichar, how can I come anywhere close to even, you can't contemplate that. Where do you go with that? You can only but surrender. It's like just, wow. Varya na java ek var. I can't get my head around that. Basically, that's what that means. Varya means a sacrifice, meaning like, can I get it all? No, I can't. You know, Varya means like when you var something and you like you can go around the whole of something, and then you come back because you've clocked it. You've got it. You got it. You can't get it. You're not meant to. That's the only way to get to Waheguru. Yeah. Kudrat kavan kahavi varya na java ek var. Not even once can I say, yeah, I get ya. Like this is you in full. Jo to the Paaveh, sai pali kar. But whatever your divine will is, that doing is perfect. Like the way you have the laws that you've created, sai pali kar. I've got to say that, yeah, it's, you know how you've done this and set it all up. And tum sada salamat nirankar. There's this, all of this creation, and we get caught in it, thinking that we're just this little dot. That's my only truth. It's saying that everything else is changing. Everything else is, you know, moving, changing, going from creation to then death, from birth to death, and something beginning, something coming to an end, and then that being then born again. It's just this cycle. Our thoughts, we create new memories, you know, we forget some, we get some new ones. Everything's just in this motion, this creation is. But amongst all of that, you sada, constantly salamat, you're always okay. Salamat, if we just translate it in a really simple way, you could say you're chilling, you're okay, meaning you're always stable, you're not touched by that. You are that as well. And but within that, like it's just a game for you, and you're still sat in it as the formless, untouched by it all. And that is also inside of us. And we could just, even this moment, just close our eyes to it and know that there's something inside of us that isn't touched by this form. And there's something inside of us that is always okay. And is always, and just is, and is complete. It doesn't need anything else. Doesn't need to add. It's just there, perfect. And that's inside of us. there you have it, the 16th Pauri. So Sangaji, look, keep joining us on this journey to lose yourself. We're here not to know more, but we're here to, whatever we hear about that one from the Guru, that we realize we can never know in full, and whatever knowing we are coming to know is for us to surrender and realize I can never know you in full, and that is the journey. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, share and subscribe. Please donate and help spread Guruji's message. Link is in the description below. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.